Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
You know when you reach that age where everyone and their mother won't shut up about their credit scores, yet it seems like no one really understands what's so special about those 3 random numbers? That's because credit scores are meaningless, unless you have Credit Karma to show you how to use them. We use those 3 random numbers, plus your financial profile, to help you find your next opportunity. Like a more rewarding credit card, a game plan that helps you pay down debt faster, or a personal loan to help you save more on interest payments each month. Cha-ching! Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to a brand new episode of Don't Blame Me.
Remember those days?
The Don't Blame Me pod?
Yeah, they're so long gone because we've extended ourselves.
We've expanded the universe. And if it's your first time here, sit down, get comfy, because boy, oh boy, do we have a lot of shows for you with, all of the we have to replace the men with podcasts, the men with microphones, the women who suck, women whose mothers are cited and established terrorists, all those kinds of things, where you're like, but how do I give up these podcasts I'm so used to listening to? You don't have to give up that routine. Just swap us in, slide us in right there.
I love being slid into.
Me too. So this is an advice podcast where we give, you guessed it, advice. And you might be wondering, how are you qualified to give this advice? And is this advice good? First of all, the advice is in the eye of the beholder. And it's catered to each individual person. And how we are qualified to give this advice is we're not, but we have lots of opinions. And is that not all that really matters? Because you could be so qualified, have so many credentials, but what if you have no thoughts, just vibes? We have so many thoughts, so many vibes. Yep, a thoughtful vibe.
I was out this weekend and there was this person sitting next to me and they were all in my face.
I noticed that.
Really in my face. How'd you notice?
There was a picture. And
I don't even think it was that one.
Oh, well, I just
That's
noticed.
the one on
I
the
said,
other side.
someone's leaning in very close.
Yeah. I think it was the person on the other side of me, but they had their hand propped up on their chin and were leaning real close in on me. Were just laughing like I was the funniest person in the world. And I could feel their breath on my cheek.
No.
Then when things were ending, they're just like, you're such a vibe, and saying that. And I was like, I don't want to be vibey with you. Like,
no, we have, and then you have a vibe too, and it's not the vibe I fucking
it's
like.
It's not the vibe I want. And they kissed my cheek, and I was just like,
who the fuck are you talking about?
I don't even know their name.
Oh, good God.
They were gay though, and I was just like, I know that you don't want me in a sexual way, but you're giving off very sexual tension to me, and I didn't like it.
Don't like that.
Yes.
Neither of us want to fuck each other, but like, I also don't like whatever this vibe is.
Like rubbing my arm and stuff. And I was just like,
no,
please stop.
No.
Stop touching me and back up.
Yeah. Personal space.
Get off my face. I should not feel your breath
That's
on my face.
Good job, because the way that I can't control it, that I immediately go to violence. If I feel hot breath on my face, even if Mods gets too close sometimes, I'm like, I'll flinch. I'm like, you have to move away so fucking expeditiously because my hands have a mind of their own. I will like, I'll like shove you away. I'll stop you. Like, it's just like, it's too much for me. Sensory overload.
It was too much. It was.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not
and
fun.
Then I was like, me going home and I was like, they've breathed COVID into me.
Oh, of course.
It's like my throat feels scratchy. I was fine. It was nothing.
But hey, it's a healthy fear.
Yeah.
And also no one should be doing that anyway. At all. At all. So that's what it is. We have opinions. That's how we're going to give you advice. And, we take everything into consideration. Like if you are sensitive, we want you to tell us that. If you're like, I need you to like give me the hard truth, I would say that is by far our specialty. We can without a doubt be sensitive and like delicate and like dance around it. But, sometimes you need an unbiased third party to tell you the truth, because you might have those friends who are like, no, it's all good. No, totally fine. And you realize, actually, why am I taking advice from this friend when I don't like the life choices they're making? So we're a great way to bounce off those ideas off of. And that's what we're here for. So if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meganpodcast@gmail.com. We also accept written versions. It's that same email address. And you can also write us a DM. So for all of them, you have to be 18 or over, have your parents' permission, and you have to let us know your age. You could let us know your pronouns if you would like. But for the voicemail and the voice memo, you have to keep it under 3 minutes. And for the written version, under 300 words. Just remember the number 3. That's consistent throughout all of them. And for the recording ones, we do recommend that you just write it down, practice it a few times, time it out, and then just read it. It doesn't have to be a stressful thing where you're like coming up with it off the top of your head and trying not to forget things. That's really fine. And you can like call again if you mess up. That's also okay. But give us as many details as possible. If there's like a history there with someone, we want to know like how long have you been friends? How long have you been in a relationship? But most importantly, which I think has helped make the write-ins and the calls better, is if there is like, if you have feelings about someone, give us the 3 examples, like structure it kind of like a thesis or whatever, being like, this person and I have beef and therefore this kind of thing, I need advice on the situation. But if you have beef, give us here are the 3 things why we have beef. Here are the 3 examples of this. It gives us a good little lowdown on that. Because we want to give you the best advice as possible. We want to be, we can be brutally honest, very truthful. We're never going to lie to you unless you ask us to lie to you or help you come up with a lie for something.
I love coming up with the lie, but it has to be still ethical. I'm not just out here lying to lie. Megan will lie to lie.
To lie. I'm a big fan of, I also won't lie to lie to people. Like I'm also a very honest person to a fault. I've had people go, little less honesty, but I will advise everybody to lie and do a little white lie, whatever you need to do. Cause like, here's the thing. Nobody is being 100% truthful all of the time. So you don't have to be either. We all tell little white lies. And sometimes you just need help making them better. Because what I don't like is when someone lies and it's a bad fucking lie. That to me is more insulting.
That's why I was super mad about that. But am I wrong? Where somebody was just, the person lied about being sick, but they went to a concert, but then kept their coworker in their close friends. Lie better. Like, you deserve to be punished.
Well, think it through, because lying and cheating, I think are both life skills, and they require effort and they require intelligence. When you don't do those things, you then lump those of us who are incredibly creative and resourceful in cheating on tests with the other people who just would lean over and look and get caught immediately. I go, we're actually not the same. What I am doing is I'm building tenacity. I'm building resilience. I'm also building resourcefulness, creativity. And I'm not the same as little lurky eyes over here.
Because you're actually putting in work and they're not putting in work.
And hey, I had a teacher who I'll famously say I had a friend who she would do all of the right work. She would get really good scores on all of the tests. I would cheat on every single test and I would do extra credit that had nothing to do with it. I would suck up to my teacher and we had the same grade and she was so mad and she went to him and was like, how could you do, like, this makes no fucking sense. She didn't say fucking because we were children or we're high schoolers and she's not like that. And he was like, this looks bad on you. This doesn't look bad on her. You coming to me and telling her, I know what grade I've given her. I know what she's doing. You have different sets of skills. This is a life skill. And she's like, well, this isn't fair. And he goes, life isn't fair. And that is your lesson for today.
But also, if you're in the real world putting practical work in, do you know what you have in front of you? The answers. You just have to find them.
And it's like the amount of effort and creativity that I'm going for and doing all of this, I go, it would just be easier if my brain understood science. It would actually just be so much fucking easier if I could grasp the concept of centrifugal force. I can't. And that's my cross to bear. Here's the thing. If you said, Megan, centrifugal force, and you let me get in an above ground pool and just run around in circles and create a little
it's that
whirl.
That ride that's at not amusement parks. What is it called?
Fairs. Yeah, fairs.
That my dad wouldn't let me to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it fucks up your insides. I'm convinced that my organs, when I did that one time, I was like, things are not where they're supposed to be. Like,
that's why you're
my uterus.
Yeah. It's back there.
Can you imagine? That'd be really funny if that's what did it. It was the gravitron.
Well,
anyways. Okay. Twins.
Let's get into the first one.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I'm a longtime listener, but first-time caller. For context, I've been listening since high school, and I'm now 23 and in law school, so it feels surreal to finally call in. But I'll dive right into the situation. So I have a younger sister who's 21, and we're super close. We're like best friends, and we always joke that we should have been twins. About a year ago, she moved about 4 hours away with her boyfriend to take a gap year from college, and while it's been hard not seeing her as much, I was really excited for her because she wanted this new adventure. And now she's in school up there and he's working full time. They've been together for over a year and my family and I have always really liked him. He's a great guy, super attentive, and they seem really happy. But about a month ago, my sister started acting differently and I could tell something was weighing on her. And she eventually opened up and said that she's been feeling like she's been losing her independence in the relationship and is thinking about taking a break. It kind of caught me off guard, because I didn't really realize she was feeling this way, but I know that she deeply values independence, and so I do get it. At first, I reassured her, that up and downs are normal in relationships, but also I told her that whatever decision she makes, I just want her to be happy. Fast forward to now, she's decided that she wants to take a break and has signed a lease for her own place. It's complicated because her boyfriend hasn't done anything wrong. He's super attentive, always up for an adventure, and takes care of things, but part of the problem, she feels like she's becoming too dependent and wants to regain her sense of independence. What makes the whole situation even harder is that her boyfriend doesn't have much of a support system, and he didn't grow up in a loving household and doesn't have many friends or family to turn to. And so my dad and I have both been talking to him just to give him the space to vent because he's really struggling with this. I find myself in a tricky position because I love and support both of them, and I don't want to be in the middle of their relationship at this intense point or feel like I'm going behind her back by talking to him in any way. Any advice on how to navigate this without betraying either of them would be really helpful. Thank you guys so much for listening. And for context, I'm a Virgo. She's a Gemini. That says a lot about our two different personalities. Okay. Thank you. Love you guys. Bye.
I mean, right off the bat, I feel like this is a lot to live with a boyfriend at 21 who you've been dating for a year. And like, her saying that she wants her independence, I'm like, okay, cool. And then as soon as you get to the point of like, he doesn't have a good relationship with his family, he doesn't have many friends or whatever, I was like, oh yeah, like this makes total sense then because she is his entire support system. Like that's a lot on anyone, let alone a 21-year-old who's only been in a relationship for a year and now you're living together and you also really value your independence.
Yeah. I'm like, good on her for recognizing that and getting out.
I think this is like really, really good on her and like not something I at 21 would have been able to articulate. I just would have known something was wrong and would have ghosted.
When you say like he didn't do anything wrong, like that kind of stuff, like somebody doesn't necessarily have to do something wrong where the relationship is coming to an end or a pause or a break. It's just not the right relationship for her to be in right now. And I understand you not wanting to be in the middle, but you are in the middle of this. You and your dad are both in the middle of this. And I'm really not trying to put my like personal spin on this, but like if my sister was over here talking to my ex that I'm trying to have some space from, I would be so mad at my sister.
Yeah.
Like so mad. And I know that your heart is in a good place. And you're trying to support him, but like,
well, I mean, I think the real context here is, does she know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Does she know that you're doing this? Is this happening behind her back?
Yeah. Cause like, does she have the same mindset that Melissa has? Would she be like really fucking pissed and then you're not telling her? Because then I think that like you've really betrayed your sister and I don't even think it's benefiting him.
Yeah.
But
and
like,
even if I did know, I wouldn't. Like, I'm trying to create some space and give himself some independence, but you're still quote unquote there for him. But like, it seems like everything moves so fast for them because he doesn't have anyone else.
I wonder, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, you have feelings for him, you have a crush on him or anything like that. But do you relate to him a bit more than your sister, like socially, and especially like sister dynamics? Like sometimes you have one sibling who is a little more outgoing and tends to have a little bit more friends. Like, and so there is kind of a baked in history there of like knowing what she's like and then knowing that like, do you relate to him on a deeper level like that? Because like I have friends who have become family where there are relationships that they have with people who I have not had as long a relationship with that I am more aligned with the other person on. And like, for me, I always like say when I have these conversations with people where I'm like, if I really, really, really only see myself on the other side and you're looking to vent or you're looking for any sort of thing like that, I will just say it. I'll always say like, I just don't think I'm the right audience. Like, I like love you and your feelings are totally valid. You should be able to have someone hear you out. But I see myself way too much in their side of this. And like, it's not like a huge ordeal or a big deal or like a make or break kind of situation, but it's just like, I'm not going to be able to be unbiased because that's the choices I would make. Those are the feelings that I would have. And when you know both people enough, I think the issue here is that like, you can't be there for both of them because they're both going to want to talk about each other. And that's too much for you to carry of that. And I do think like, what happens if your sister doesn't want to get back together and she gets a new person she's dating? He might not be able to continue letting you be a part of his support system. Like that's too much for him. And then he's back at square one.
Right.
I think it's very like kind and commendable. Again, as someone who like I don't have a like family circle. I don't have like a big support system. I really like, I think it's very honorable and I respect that. And I would really, without a doubt, appreciate that. But there is what would be most helpful for me if I was in his situation was to have the people who you will always still be her people to him, always. And so if he can like reconcile with that, I would not be able to, like, I wouldn't be able to fully open up. I just would, you would have already been in that category to me. But the most helpful thing would be to encourage me to get out there and like make some friends and get out there, or like, hey, I have a friend of a friend who like lives in that city. That'd be great for like setting up those kinds of things instead of just keeping one foot in the relationship. Because I also think like, if you want them to get back together, that's your ultimate goal. I do think this will drive them apart even further.
And I just don't think that's being a good sister.
No, and I don't think it's being a good friend to him either, because I think like it's holding on to hope of a relationship that like you have no sway over her. And like, even if you say that to him and he says that he believes it, he's going to read into things of like why you're do all of those things. And like, this is good. And I it's good. What she's doing is the right choice and it's a good choice. And it does feel like you are judging her for that. And it does feel like you are on his side, which is fine. You're allowed to feel that way. You just need to remove yourself from that situation and circumstance. Like, you can say it one time, but you can't toe the line with both of these friendships and relationships. Like I've had friends who have been not siblings, but like friends who are dating and they've broken up. And I've been like, you were wrong. Like, I think that you fucked up. I don't think that was like the right thing to do. But I didn't end. If it's not a friendship ender, and this is your sister, if it's not like a friendship ender, there's no need to continue to like silently judge or like build resentment or hold animosity towards like their actions. Like if you feel some type of way about something someone did, even if it didn't affect you, I think you can say it one time, let them know. But if you're not going to do anything about it, except like build this kind of anger and frustration about it, I don't think that's healthy at all. And I don't think it's fair. Like you're allowed to air your grievances and even like to tell other people, being like, I really think she made a mistake. You can say that one time.
But don't go around saying that. Like you can talk about that with your dad, since your dad's already in the middle of this too. But like, don't say it to the boyfriend.
Don't say it to him. And like, you can tell your sister, being like, hey, I think that this was like really fucked up. And then she can tell you, I think that I'm prioritizing myself. And then we can also tell you, I think she did the right thing. Mm-hmm. Nobody is more or less right. Like it can just be who you relate to and who you see yourself in and what role that you feel aligns most with you. But once you've said that and it's done. You can't like, you can't continue to like then hang out with him. And then it's like, okay, so you think we should get back together, but you're hanging out with him. Like, I just think that it is already so messy. And again, I think wanting to be there for him is really kind. And I would also really appreciate that. But there's a way to do that. And the way to do that is to encourage independence. It is to encourage metaphorically spreading his wings, right? Like finding other people and things that aren't attached to her. And that's hard. And that's not something he might be comfortable doing immediately. But I know that's what he needs. And if you really care about him and his well-being, would advocate for that.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sorry. This is it's a shitty fucking position to be in. I'd have like a couple friends, again, if they like broke up, I would be like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, that's hard. And this is harder because it's a sibling.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get into some more.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
And we're back.
And it's time to get into the next one. Hey, Meghan and Melisa. I'm 28 and use she, her pronouns. I'm needing your advice on letting my coworker know I'm interested in him. I've known him for 3 years. He was in a relationship when we first met, so I never thought anything of my small crush. Now he's been single for about a year, and I feel like it's time for me to make my move. Luckily, my job doesn't prohibit employees from dating, so that's not a problem. The problem is I'm not very forward. I'm an introvert and insanely shy for my big age. So I guess I'm looking for advice on how to actually tell him. Do I text him, ask him out? I have no clue. I'm lost. Help.
Just because your job doesn't have anything against it doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do.
Ask your coworkers. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there might be some coworkers that I go, oh my God, you should totally date. Not here, though. You should quit and then you should date. And I'd love to see you for a barbecue on the weekend. I don't want to be a part of that here in our workplace right now.
No. If you're serious about wanting to date him, get a new job. Do not
make him
bring
get a new
that.
job.
We already have seen enough. We've actually seen friendships messed up as long as we've been doing these shows. We've seen dating things messed up as long as we've been doing these shows. Like, don't bring that to the workplace.
No. I agree with it. I think like the exception to the rule would be if you work at MGM. You work somewhere that's like, and one person works in the Phoenix office in marketing and the other person works in the New Jersey office in sales.
Yeah. And then you have to worry about a long distance relationship and then you're going to have to get a new job anyway. So let's just cut out the whole thing. Like, no, don't do this.
Yeah.
Scram. He doesn't want to talk to you.
Scram. No, because like, here's the thing. Here's what you actually really need to tell us. What is your job? How long have you been there? How much are you getting paid? What is your position? And what's his? Like, if this is, you work at TCBY, call up Coldstone, like pivot, and like tell him and then pivot. But if you're at like JP Morgan, this is your dream fucking job. You're like in line to get a promotion and he works on your team alongside you, or he works above you directly, or he works directly below you. Do you want this man or do you want a job?
We've also seen where people work in separate departments and they date, but then things happen things get moved around and then now you're in the same department with them.
Yeah.
Don't.
No, it's like not sustainable. And like, I say this as someone who met her fiance at work,
but
he called me into the office and said, I've put in my 2-week notice. And I forget what the date was. It was, 2 weeks from then. And then he said, I'd like to take you out when that's over. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and he, like, I don't even know if he said exactly like that. It was like, could have even been more like vague of being like, so, that means what I hopefully think that you think that also means. And I was like, okay. And then when the 2 weeks were done, not during the 2 weeks, when the 2 weeks were done, we went out.
I too have dated people that I've worked with, but did not date them until they were done with their job. This happened a couple times.
Yeah. And you guys should know how perceptive I am. Didn't even know. And that's crazy, because there are people who nobody else could figure it out. And I immediately went, yeah, these two. Never once for that. Never once for that. I was bamboozled. So yeah, I just think that it's totally fine to have a crush on your coworker. I think you've done everything right in the sense like, that he's been single for a year now and all of that kind of stuff. But I do think you would be making a huge mistake if this is like your dream job or a career step is pivotal in your success and your future growth, whether it's with this company or not, but like within your career path. Like if this is not like a fucking summer camp position, this isn't like a retail job that you fucking hate. It's something that like you can have a comparable thing on your resume that you don't need any of this. Like if you are not willing and able to like step away from your job expeditiously, no. And also I think that he is a man. His career is far more promised. His success and his promotions are far more promised, that he should be the one pursuing you saying, hey, I put my 2 weeks in. You should not have to quit your job to show your interest in this man. He should have done that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I just don't think, I think if you're like going to meet someone at work and it's a heterosexual relationship, I do not think the woman should quit that job. I think it's a man's responsibility to quit the job. It's a man's responsibility to quit his job.
Yeah.
Okay. And get into the kitchen.
Yeah. We bring up this man a lot, but Olympia's dad.
Oh, yeah.
He quit his job at Reddit because he said, get a black woman in there. And you know what he's doing now? Putting on track meets for women athletes and paying them.
He said, who's got any requests?
Yeah. He said, who's got any requests?
Hey, I'm making the playlist. Who's got a request? Someone might come live.
Yep. Meg the Stallion. Okay. That's who y'all want. She's coming.
And even when his daughter says, Daddy, I want to say, and he goes, I'm so sorry, honey, it's too late. She doesn't even say anything. She just looks at me and goes, okay, fine.
Right.
This man knows.
Changing careers and making lives better. That's the kind of man.
No, he's a father.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good man, Savannah. Like, that's the kind of effort and energy I want someone to put into wanting to date me. And like, I would hope that if this guy also has feelings for you, like you should never like
risk your job for a maybe crush.
Yeah, but also like I'm like a firm believer, and this could also be like my ego. I never want to like pursue someone or like make the first move and have them be like, this thought never crossed my mind. I'm like, okay, then never mind. What do you mean? Like, there's a difference between being like, oh, I thought you were so out of my league, and of course I thought you were pretty, but like I didn't think you'd be interested or whatever. But like, if it's like so out of left field in that, like that I'm not interested in. And so like, I think if he in the next like month quits, then maybe he's also been thinking about it. But I don't think that you should have to be the one to like bring this up and switch out your life.
But also if he quits, it may have nothing to do. It most likely has nothing to do with you.
No, that's what I'm saying though. But like, I think that it also doesn't look good as a man to date like someone who you work with either. And so like, he should then take it on him if he has feeling for you. He should take it upon himself to quit his job and then ask you out. But like already I'm kind of a firm believer if someone has feelings for you, like, you know, and like, maybe I'm just kind of perceptive in that way that like, you can catch a vibe. And if you don't have like maybe other people, you can't figure it out or whatever, but the barrier of entry is quite literally, you cannot work with him. And I am fundamentally against you quitting your job or putting your job in the back burner or being willing to risk your job for a man.
Yep.
That's against my religion.
So you wanted help, you put it in all caps. That's the help we're giving. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't even do it for a second. Again, unless you work at a summer camp or you work at some place where you can like pivot really quickly. Like, no. Because again, even if you're allowed, what if you break up and then you're miserable and you don't want to see him again?
Right.
Or what if he gets like fucking weird and like the date goes badly and then you just see him again? Like,
or he gets a promotion over you.
Yeah, there's so many fucking things there that are just like super fucking weird, and companies are going to stay loyal to the men. They're not going to stay loyal to the women. And like, it will then be, you can't both benefit then. And then it's like, who's going to get a promotion? Who's not? It's just,
And also like, people aren't the same as they are at work.
No.
I have a whole different persona when I'm in an office.
No, this is camp goggles. Do you know how many times I've had crushes on guys who like the amount of fucking production, like where I'm just like, we're on location and like he's cute. And the second I'm out of that space, I go, I'm shocked.
Everybody's on their best behavior, usually, if they're a good worker.
And like, you haven't seen their apartment. Like, you don't know their friends. Like, you don't like know their like, you don't know what kind of music they listen to. Cause like, they're telling you the work appropriate stuff that they do and like how they talk or whatever. And then the second that it's like, we're off the clock. Uh-oh. The amount of times that like, it's literally like drunk goggles, camp goggles that I immediately go, I regret everything. And these men would tell you like, we had such a connection. She was so into me. And I'd be like, and I understand why you would think that. Because the version of me was into that version of you, but then we stepped into the daylight and I was horrified.
Yeah. I remember my old assistant when she started coming to shoots when we were in person. And she was like, you're different with Megan than you are at other places. And I was like, yeah, because like, this is a friend that we are being real here. Everybody else, corporate Melissa's out.
No, it was like, don't think that we can talk like that. This does not translate into our other endeavors.
At all.
No. Oh, it's so funny. I have a hard time with, I'm like, unfortunately, far too similar to myself. And then I assume everybody else is just like being who they are. And then I went, oh, I actually hate this version of you.
Unfortunately, they love me both ways.
Yeah. I can literally, like, I can't even count how many dudes I've just met on like shoots or production, whatever, where they were like, whatever happened? Like I'm the one that got away. And I went, couldn't run fast enough.
Wee.
Wee, wee.
All right, we're going to take another break and then we'll get into some more.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're back. And here's the next one. Hey, Eminem. I'm getting so much mixed advice from my family and friends. I decided to write in and see what you think. I'm 20 years old and I use she, her pronouns. My aunt just passed away. We were not that close, but she was always outspoken about me being her favorite. Well, we had the reading of the will and I was asked to be present. I'm thinking she's leaving me some old jewelry or something. No, she left me a very large sum of money. The thing is, I'm only 20. I have no clue what to do with this large sum of money. My anxiety is through the roof. I'm just trying to figure out what to do. Some ideas I've had are buying a house, but the market sucks, investing, or making some splurge purchase that's just for me. I want to be smart though. Any advice you have would be greatly appreciated. I love the podcast.
I need to know how much money, because my advice is invest unless it is such a large amount of money that buying a house and where you would buy a house that you would be able to live in it and sell it afterwards, not like have to like rent it out or do anything like that. Like don't do that. But if it's like $20 million and you can buy a house in the Palisades.
First of all, would you like to be a producer for Sister Sign Productions? We have a position just for you.
Would you like to join our Patreon? By the way, just the cost there, you can change it if you want. If you want to add a little more money there. But like if it is something like if you can buy New York real estate, you can buy California, certain areas, not Bakersfield. If you can buy like Los Angeles, if you can buy real estate in a place where you can live in it, and then within 2 years, the value of the home has gone up already because of no remodels you've done, nothing, just based on the location. There are so few places like that. And if it has not been like that for, I'm going to say the last 20 years, don't believe it if they say the market, the prices are increasing. It's not.
No,
that's
they're
not.
actually
It's
down.
Inflated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like real estate agents will say that
yes.
it's all inflated.
Are you in school? Are you working full time? Because that also factors into my questions. Like, is it enough money where like you don't have to work for the rest of your life? Or is it like enough where like it's a down payment on the house and then you still need to, make the house payments? There's questions, but I would say, I think if you have money to buy a house, I would say buy a house, but like be smart about what kind of house it is, where it is. And this should be a house that you're going to be in for a minute, but like, don't splurge on anything because you're going to regret that in the future. Also, talk to a financial advisor.
Yeah, that's my big advice.
Like a reputable one. You can listen to my other podcast, Bad with Money. We have a lot of reputable people on there, and they give a lot of advice for. I think we also actually had a similar write-in about this. But you can search and find it. But I recommend listening and figuring out like how to be smart with the money. Also, like, was it like in a check and do you need to go deposit into the account? Because you can also talk to the bank and they can answer basic questions for you too.
Yeah. For a financial advisor, it cannot be anyone you know. It can't be like, oh, I have an uncle or my friend, like my uncle's friend. No. It has to be fully independent. It can't even be like a reference from someone who you know who could benefit from this at all. And I don't mean to say that like, oh, these people wouldn't be shady. It's not about them being shady and like having malicious intent when recommending it. It is just the matter of how that person will then give you advice, because they will filter it regardless of how professional they are.
Mm-hmm.
They will involuntarily be filtering it through the lens of how they got this contact with you
and how they think that you're going to react with the money,
and how the idea that they have of you based on the person who recommended you, whatever. The first thing I would say is, do you have any debt? Do you have any loans? Like, pay off all of that. That was what I would say. Like, if it's not student loans, because student loans you can't pay off
even
lump sum. But if it's a credit card, like, calculate how much you need for that and then invest the money. Don't put the money into a house that then needs to be sold to then recoup all of those things, whatever. You need to do your whole budget and then how much your loans are, how much you're going to be able to contribute to that for how long. And then not invest all of it, because again, using that to fund those things, but being able to put that in, use what you have to pay off those things over the time period and then invest the rest, I would say, if you have loans.
Yeah, don't pay off everything because that affects your credit. Put the money into a high interest yield banking account, because it'll be generating interest, but also like you just know that every month that money's coming out, but you don't want to pay it all off at one time because it'll mess up your credit.
Yeah. And like, do you want to go to grad school? Do you want to go to med school? Do you want to do anything like that? Like, that is the stuff where if you have zero desire to get your master's, don't let anyone in your family convince you to use this money for a higher degree, because the only not even sure, but like the only, like the quote unquote safest way to make money from this money and to not lose this money is investing. And still, even if it's like a very, very safe investment, you might not grow it at all. Like, it might just stay exactly the same. And you can invest in yourself and invest in your future and all of that, but it has to actually be what you want. And so at 20, buying a house sounds like, wow, what a fucking dream. Do you want to live in a house? Do you want to upkeep a home right now? Like, are you going to live with friends? Do you want to be a landlord if you live with friends and all of that? Like, there are so many ideas of ways you can spend your money that like people will tell you who are at different places in their life. And as somebody who started making good money at like that same age as you, all of that stuff, like, I was like, I'm just investing. Like, and I did very well invested. Like, that was like, it worked really well. And that's like a kind of thing, if you don't know what you want yet with this money, just invest it. Don't spend it. Don't just be like, well, I'll spend a little here and spend a little here, because that money's not going to come back, and you should be intentional with it. So if you're still on the fence or you're just not sure, take a chunk of it and start investing it and sit on it. Like, just wait. You don't have to make a huge decision immediately. And a lot of other people, like, family members, if they want you, if you get a house, then maybe they can live there for free. Maybe they can do those kinds of things. So just think through all of the strings that come with the money, and the strings only really come with the money when you start spending the money. So I want to know how much you got so bad. Because yeah, if it's enough that like you never have to work again in your life, that I actually would not want that at 20, because like you have so much of your like, because how do you relate to other 20-year-olds? How do you relate to like find other people? Because like once you're like getting into like older and you have all these like people who are full-time work in charity and they do all of this kind of stuff, like you have a circle of peers who have reached that kind of level, but like most people don't have that kind of money that young.
You find other rich people.
Totally. But then you have to
find them and then
and relate to them at that point.
Yeah. And they've grown up with that. And then that's a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think at 20, no.
No.
Now?
Yes. Totally.
Yes.
Now,
I can
yes.
handle it.
At 20, I could not.
No. And I was still in school. Were you still in school? 20? No. I was still in school. The way that I was out there, no.
Yeah, like I spent money on like stupid, ugly shit. And like I will say, of everybody who was in the same YouTube era as me, I was the most frugal. Like I did not go crazy and spend like, but there are some like I have like some like nice, expensive. I have specifically have like two like very nice, expensive, 2 or 3 very nice, expensive handbags, and I bought some like expensive shoes, like a couple pairs of those. But like I like look at those bags and I go, did I afford it? Yeah. Like, could I afford it? Totally. But now looking back, I would have never spent the money on that now. There's one thing that I'm like, I like that I still have this. Like this still holds a sentimental place in my heart. But that's only knowing that like I continue to make money. Like it's just one of those things that like there's so much uncertainty at 20 that you throw on a fuck ton of money with that. That's going to be really fucking hard to like weed out what you also want to do. And like, where is my drive coming from? Where is my like motivation coming from and all of that? And I also would not tell your friends.
No. Financial, but like
don't tell like anybody.
Don't tell anybody. I mean, the people in your family know, but like financial literacy is so important for you right now.
Yeah.
It's important for everybody, but like getting this big lumps of money where you don't know what to do with it, you got to talk to somebody that does know what to do.
No, yeah. I will literally ask Mott's like, I would try and ask him like financial advice. And before we were like engaged, she was like, I don't feel comfortable looking at it. I don't feel comfortable. Like, that's something you have to talk to something like, this is your money. This is what you've done. This is all that stuff. And like, I'm getting better financial literacy, but like, I just paid people to be financially literate for me. Cause like, that was hard for me. And like, you can also do that. And like, that was very helpful. I would have never invested if I didn't have them. And like, I didn't even know how my investments are doing. And Mom was like, no, they're doing good. And I was like, cool. Have no idea. I would have invested in like Dippin' Dots. Like if it was like up to me and my creative brain.
Well, it would have been great because Dippin' Dots is doing pretty good.
I know they are.
Not with Dippin' Dots itself, but they're using the technology for something. I forgot what it was, but I remember learning about it.
And you know what? We have been supporting Dippin' Dots since the fucking beginning. Nobody
can't even eat it.
Goddamn fucking forget it. Here. Blind support. Same thing with Hawaiian rolls. I go, can't participate. I love what you're doing. And I would love one day, but I do respect the fact that you have brand integrity.
Yeah.
But also I was going to say, if your parents or your family starts telling other people about this, that to me is an automatic, nope, goodbye. Tell us how much money you made. I'm just like so curious, like not in like a creepy way, but don't invest in crypto. Solid. That's like the big one.
All right. Next one.
Hello, Meghan and Melisa. I need advice on love, relationships, and sex. I'm a 30-year-old sex repulsed asexual. I guess. I've never been sexually attracted to anyone in my entire life, and I've never felt turned on at all. A cis woman in a kind of small town. The dating pool is already small. Being asexual makes it practically non-existent. I've never been in love and never been in a relationship. I've been in a friends with benefits situationship kind of thing, and I did a lot of things I very much didn't want to do because I thought it was something that I just had to do. That just cemented for me how sex repulsed I actually am, and I am incredibly scared that I also might be a romantic. That might also be because of my mental health. Anyway, a few questions. 1, how does it feel to be in love? 2, do you think it's possible to be in an open relationship where one partner seeks sex outside of the relationship, or is that just too risky? Maybe with the rule to never have sex with the same person twice to avoid developing feelings? Or do I have to find a person that is as sex repulsed as I am? Do you think that you could be in a relationship with a person that didn't have sex with you? Because I feel like that for many, many, many people is very, very unrealistic. Anyway, love the pod. Thank you so much.
Everybody's different. Everybody's levels for romance, everybody's level for sex, everybody's level for companionship is different. And I think what you just said, I don't think it's unheard of as far as someone being asexual and then maybe aromantic too, and still being with someone and also opening up the relationship where they're free to hook up with people, but they can't catch feelings. The thing about that, though, is that catching feelings for somebody, that's not something you can just turn off. And even if they only have sex with them one time, they could still catch feelings. But if you are in a relationship where these are the boundaries, it can't be like you can't have sex with them more than one time. But it could be like, if you start having feelings for somebody else, I want to know too.
Yeah.
Because then you have all the information. But as far as like, could I be in a relationship with someone? I know what my needs are, and all my needs need to be met in a relationship for me. This is me, just me. I don't speak for everybody, but like, if I'm in a committed relationship, I'm in a committed relationship, and I need all my needs to be met. Because if I'm committing to someone, for me, yes, like we have sex, it's also romantic. I'm also like in love with them. So those are what my boundaries are. Those are my hard and fast rules. But I'm not everybody.
I'm not someone who's interested in having sex with other people. I'm the same way. Like, I want my needs that need to be met in a relationship. Like, one person cannot meet all your needs. They can't be they can't be everything for you.
Yep.
But in the same sense as you, it's like, for me, like I need to get those romantic and sexual feeling like gratified through that singular relationship. Other things I'm getting from other friendships, other relationships with people, but like that's encompassed in one. But again, like Melissa said, like we're not everybody, but also like I would encourage you to like look at Reddit posts of people talking about having different libidos in relationships, just to see how so many people who are not asexual and not aromantic are in mismatched relationships in terms of sex drive or affection or whatever. Like it's not so black and white. It's not so like you fit into this category and therefore then this all matches up perfectly. So many people are on different levels of how often they want to have sex, what they view intimacy as or whatever. Like I've had callers, but like I've had friends who have been in relationships where they're like, oh my God, this person never wants to have sex. And like they were totally happy with it. And like they would be happy probably like hardly ever having sex, or like, you know, maybe they're more into what other things of whatever. And then that was just like, they're just not sexually compatible people.
Right.
So I think like you I'm not to like assign feelings to how you were speaking, but like it sounded like you were a little bit hoping the answer that we're saying is not you have to find someone who also has the exact same preferences as you, because it feels like maybe that felt like it makes the dating pool smaller because you did establish like you're in a smaller town and all of that. But I would again like take away it looking so black and white. You want somebody who understands you. That doesn't mean that they have the exact same lived experience as you. But it means that they understand your boundaries, respect your boundaries, and also want the same thing out of a relationship. That doesn't mean that they have the same instincts. It doesn't mean they have the same whatever that is. It's not limiting in the sense of, well, now you only have this one specific dating pool of people, because even if those people checked off those things for you, you might fucking hate them. Right. Like you just might not be compatible in like a romantic sense. I mean, you might not be compatible in like a companionship kind of sense. So I think knowing what you need out of a relationship is the most important part versus what does this person need in a relationship, and then how can I find a way to give them that or find other ways for them to achieve that, because that's centering the other person. And it sounds like that's something that you are familiar with doing. And if that's a habit you've gotten yourself into, instead of being like, how am I going to meet the needs of this partner? It's like, okay, what are my needs? And like, what is this partnership with? And, you know, if you're like really like not feeling good about this time period of like, you're just like not in the like dating, and this sounds like exhausting and stressful, you don't have to. Like, and again, that has nothing to do with being aromantic or asexual or anything like that. Happens to everybody. Like, there are certain times where, like, if it's miserable, no matter who you meet, no matter how many boxes they check off, it's going to be miserable because you don't want to do it. And I think that, like, we put, as like a world and society, we put so much pressure on romantic relationships and on partnerships, like long lasting, these kinds of like very love filled romantic relationships as like the end all be all. And when you have, if you have friends who have like, they are kind of pairing off and doing that kind of thing, it really feels like that's like what you're quote unquote supposed to do. And I think like the thing that is far more important, and obviously that sounds rich coming from someone who like is in a relationship. I was not in a relationship for a really long time. And like, I didn't know if I was going, I was like, I could not envision or fathom myself meeting someone that I would want to be with all the time. Like, I just could not. And I had so many friends and I had like filled my life with that. And there was, when I didn't have a great friend life, it was kind of like a holy fucking shit. I don't know how, like, how am I going to find this partnership? But like when I filled my life with my hobbies, my passions, my friends, the things that I liked, I worried a lot less about ending up in a relationship or with a partner. And it was like, if it happens, cool. But like, you have to be really fucking great. And I have to really fucking like you because I like everything else that's going on. But if you're not enjoying the rest of your life, like I think life, if you look at it like a checklist, you're not going to be able to check everything off in life. You're going to check off as many things as you can or as you want to. And it gets to a certain point where you're like, I don't even need to do the rest of these. I don't even care that much about these or whatever. But it has to be, you have to be fulfilled in other aspects of your life. So I think if you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself for this specific thing, it's good to take a break and or to look at like, where is this pressure coming from? Like, is it coming from outside sources?
And you ask like, what does it feel like to be in love? That's hard to put a finger on. But I think for me, when I've been like really in love, it's like I feel safe with this person and I can't do anything. Like I can just be myself. And like I do get butterflies in my stomach and they do just like I'm happy and I think about them at random parts of the day and that makes me smile. But I think when you're in love, you just know that you're in love.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be questioning it.
I agree with that. And I think like love means different things at different points in time.
Different types of love.
Yeah. And like, I don't look at, I know people who they were like, once they got older and they were in a more serious relationship, they're like, oh, I thought I had been in love and I had said, and I didn't until this moment. I don't feel that way.
Yeah. I think you love that person as much as you could at that point in your life.
Yeah. That is the capacity. Like your heart can give this much love at this age. And then the life you live and the more experience you have, you're able, in the Grinch, your heart's growing, you're able to expand that more. And like, there's more meaning to it. There's more ways to show your love and your affection and your care, and like showing up for people. It means different things the older you get and as you go through experiences. And so like, I loved my high school boyfriend as much as I could love anybody at like 16. But do I love him the same way or as much as I love Mott's? No, it's completely different because I'm also a totally different person. So in my experience, like Melissa, I've never questioned if I've been in love with someone. The first time I was in love, I knew I loved them as a friend. Like I knew I really loved them and cared for them as a friend. And it wasn't until someone else was like, you are in love with him, that I was like, oh, you're right. This is not how I feel about my friends. Like I feel differently about this person than I do my friends. And then like, I think that like, for me, when you're in love, it's something that like, I'm afraid to talk and open my mouth because the only thing I'm going to say is I love you. Like that's like, that's the only thing. It's a one track mind. And like it's like, you have to spit it out. Like it's crawling in it's not a sitting on that. I don't think is a comfortable feeling keeping that in. Like if you are in love, it sounds cheesy. It's very Shakespearean. Like you shot it from the rooftops. Like it is an impossible feeling to keep in. You can see it in other people's faces. You can tell when you talk to them, even if you're just friends, like you can sense that from them. And if you're feeling that, it's like a silly as it sounds, like a cough or a burp. It's something that's coming up that you cannot suppress. So I agree in the sense that like if you have to ask yourself, if you have to intellectualize it and figure that out in that way, I don't think that you love them in the way that I have known love. And I'm not saying that like that's not love or whatever, but like we can only ever give advice on like how we've experienced love. But yeah, I think it's a growing emotion in the sense that like you don't grow to love someone, but your love for someone grows.
Yeah. But I think you can also grow to love somebody.
Totally. But like, I don't think that you can say, I love them, and then it builds and then you actually do love them. I think like you
love somebody.
And there's other steps. Like you can really like someone. You could be infatuated. You could have a crush. There's like so many other really fun stages to be in before you get to like the love part. And I think like sometimes people can say that or identify that feeling when it's the other ones. And then you get to the point where you go, oh, I actually do love you. But it's like what Melissa said, like you just feel comfortable. You feel safe. Like it's just, there's no more hurdles to jump through there. It's just like you've ran the race and you've reached the finish line and you're just like, you get the water and you get your food and it's just like, it's easier.
Right.
So I hope that was helpful at all. This is obviously we can't relate in the personal sense. So if anyone who's listening has any personal experience with this and would like to give their own advice, not from our just vague world concept advice, like anything personal, we would love that. Because yeah, we can only ever go from our own lived experience.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to See You Next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
And we are back, and it's time for Don't Blame Them. What is Don't Blame Them?
Don't Blame Them is when you, the listeners, call in, write in, DM us your thoughts and feelings on calls or write-ins that we've had in the past. And please, more people write in. I know you all have thoughts. We're a very opinionated community.
Yeah.
Write in, call.
You might be like, it might be about being an introverted boyfriend. And you're like, I was an introverted boyfriend. Let me tell you about that experience that I had. Or maybe it's a call about a teacher. And you're like, I'm a teacher. I know this. Maybe it's a call about Dippin' Dots. And you're like, as a Dippin' Dots connoisseur, first of all, I would say, welcome to the club. And you have your own thoughts and feelings.
I'm Meghan and Melisa. I'm writing in for Don't Blame Them for the girl whose friend is an alcoholic. I totally agree with Megan. Do not invite her. So I had a similar situation. Me and all my friends I grew up with would get together for Thanksgiving every year to do a catch up. So 2 years ago, one of our friends was rolling off pills and drunk before she even got there. We did a catch up of our year video where each of us presented how our year was. Our friend mentioned her pet dying and started cracking up laughing. It was a mess. She got so drunk she passed out using the bathroom. The following year, we did invite her to Friendsgiving. We let her know we weren't inviting her and that she needed to clean up her act. So fast forward this year, we were trying to settle on the date, and the friend we didn't invite let us know she checked into rehab for a few months without telling anyone. She is now totally clean. She said us not inviting her was a real eye-opener to how bad her behavior's gotten with other events that happen. So don't invite her. It may just be the wake-up call she needs. I do advise you talk to her, though, and tell her she's not invited. It's not an easy conversation, and there will be some anger. Hopefully, she eventually sees you are trying to do what was best for her. This year, for our Friendsgiving, we're doing mocktails in honor of our friend getting clean.
That's great.
That is great.
I love that. Yeah, I know people who should be sober and they're not. And I know people who are sober and it's like fantastic and like such a great thing that they have done. And when I cater the events or the things that we are doing to the people who are the comfortability of someone who's being sober versus making us all uncomfortable to not want to make someone else uncomfortable who is like going through something like that. I said it before, but I think it's a huge disservice to your friends that like, if I was going through that, I wouldn't want to be pushed away. That would make me feel more isolated. I would want someone to tell me exactly why they're doing that, because it's not anyone's fault for having a dependency or using any substances, whatever that is, but it does not just affect them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good to know.
Very good to know.
So very happy for your friend and that you all were willing to maintain and continue that friendship.
Mm-hmm. And that she's doing better now.
Yeah. Especially like going to like rehab and like not saying anything to anyone, like all of that. Like there's a lot of shame built into that, which is unfortunate that like there's not really a workaround. And like that's something you have to unlearn is that shame. And I really love, like shame is such like an isolated negative feeling. And then the second you like say it out loud, it can't destroy your brain anymore. And then when people then don't voice that shame back to you and they're just like accepting and loving, it makes it die a little quicker and quicker and quicker. And we would just all be, some people need shame, other people don't.
I agree. All right. That's the end of our episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, for being here with us. If you would like to see our beautiful faces,
we're stunning.
Join our Patreon. It's a good time. You can join in and see videos for Don't Blame Me and But Am I Wrong? You can also get ad-free episodes for Don't Blame Me and But Am I Wrong? We're putting up random things and we have a live stream as well, which
it's very fun.
We thoroughly enjoy every other Friday-ish. 2 Fridays.
Mott's came on.
Yeah.
Someone who I apparently have known and existed in the same town for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I always reiterate this just because I want people to know that there are always new people who are in it. So you're never going to be the only new one. Everybody's like so friendly and so nice. People who've recently joined, write in and like say that it wasn't scary and like, and we'll tell people that. And like judgment-free zone, we like hear all the drama. And also I will say there's so many people who've been in it for years and we all like know each other. We've got the lingo, we've got the backstory. I do think we are incredibly good at no matter what, if we make a reference, we will explain it for everyone new.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, just say it.
Yeah. And we like make sure that you are in on the inside joke immediately.
Yeah. And I just want to say also, there's like not topics. Like it's not me and Megan showing up and having a topic to discuss. It would be like if everybody just came over to somebody's house and we were hanging out.
Yeah. And like some people are cooking dinner, some people are drawing. I have been editing my vlog and this is from, I don't know if it was from the last live stream we did, maybe the one before. And like the background voice in it is it's like, we're talking about someone had gotten a car crash, someone had been scammed. And like, we're just like going through and like everybody's talking about just like random stuff. And I'll like turn on the audio and I go, oh yeah, I forgot about this. So like, it's so casual, so easy and like very chill.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you again for listening and join us again tomorrow for Fistine Friday.
Yay. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production sound and editing by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager. But local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth. Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestall.
We're the Ghost Story Guys.
And every 2 weeks, we explore first-person stories of encounters with the paranormal from all around the world.
Then we have some fun reacting to those stories. We like to say our goal is to scare the hell out of you, then make you laugh.
Belief in the paranormal is not required. All you need is a love of great storytelling and curiosity about the world around you.
Subscribe to the Ghost Story Guys now on your favorite podcatcher to hear episodes like High Strangeness in Chicago, The Mystery of Missing Time, and The Haunting of Vietnam, along with dozens of others.
We've talked about mythical bridges, doppelgangers, haunted seaside towns, and so much more.
Remember that story about the guy who was trapped inside a dream and something was hunting him? That was upsetting.
Yes it was.
Want us to help ruin your sleep? Come find the Ghost Story Guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts live, or at ghoststoryguys.com.